Aloha! This is Kaleo with Sales Story Ninja, episode 1, where I'm going to talk about my origin story and how I got involved. Boom.
Aloha! Follow me as I share with you what I learned back on the sales line. I'm Kaleo McCabe, and this is Sales Story Ninja.
Hey, aloha! This is Kaleo with Sales Story Ninja, and I want to welcome you. This is actually my very first podcast episode, and today all I'm going to do is talk about talk a little bit about who I am and why I even started this podcast and what I'm looking to do in it. If I go back to kind of who I am and what I'm about, I love sales. I've been in sales for most of my life. Actually, I remember my very first time in sales, we were selling our service. We used to wash cars as kids, and we used to go from house to house, primarily mom and dad, and my friend's mom and dad, and my other friend's mom and dad. But we would go to neighbors as well, and basically offer to wash their car, and we'd make money from it. And I really liked it. It was very invigorating to be able to go out and hustle your own money. And I remember for a long time, I really liked the idea of buying things cheap and reselling it for a profit. Buying things cheap, reselling it for a profit. I remember when I was in summer school as a kid, God, I remember I used to trade magic cards, and we used to go in and we used to find the good ones, and I used to take the rare ones and try to sell. And I charge people for picks at the chance at a rare magic card. I used to do all stuff like that. That used to be my thing. I used to really enjoy it. But that idea of the hustle, that idea of being able to go and eat what you kill, and that mentality, I loved it. I think I grew up with that type of mentality, and that's where I fell in love with sales. And I remember for me, as I continued through it, I remember growing up, I was always told, though, go get a steady job, go get a real job, go get a regular job. Don't just hustle. It was always go out there and go make go get a degree and go earn a living. So I got my degree as a teacher. I got my degree in Hawaiian language, actually. And I knew, even though I loved the Hawaiian language and I loved teaching, what I lacked was the freedom to go out and hustle, go out and make my own, go out and make the kind of money that I want to make. And I knew that I would have to switch. And I remember back watching Robert Kiyosaki, and he talked about, in fact, it was my roommate, his name was Gabe, that he had this book. And God, we were in college, so this is probably the year 1999 or 2000, 2001, right in that range. And he goes, dude, this is my friend gave me this book. It's like the greatest book ever. And Gabe, dude, that book, thank you. But it talked about the 4 different types of ways to earn income. And I knew, even though I went into teaching, even though I knew it was wrong in terms of employee, self-employed, business, and investor, that eventually I'd have to move over to a B and an I. And so for me, I remember I fell in love with the book, The 4-Hour Workweek. And I'm like, this is how to build a B business. This is how to build a B business. But I always had people in my family, myself, just a lot of things that happened in my pursuit of it. And a lot of people telling me I should get a real job, get a real job, get a real job. Well, for me, I got back, I left teaching because of that need to find myself and figure things out. I gotten into car sales, and that's when I knew, I'm like, this is it. Sales is the way to go. Sales gives me the ability to do well. And like any good salesperson, I did, made a ton of money, and I got an ego in my early to mid 20s. And somebody making 150,000 in their mid 20s tend to play around a lot and not listen to people, and felt like I had the whole world and I could control everything I wanted. And one day my boss got mad at me, and I walked out. I'm like, I don't need you. And I figured, I'm just gonna go on my entrepreneurial journey and start. And the truth is, for me, I wanted to know that I could make it. I wanted to know that I could make it on my own. Like, I wanted the money and all, but it was really about me being able to look inside of myself and try to figure out, can I do this? Can I make it happen? And so for me, that was my start to everything. And as time went on, I started to be a real estate investor because that's what I learned. I learned about real estate. I learned about um, how to flip houses, how to assign deals, how to wholesale deals, how to buy, fix, sell, buy and hold. And I ended up buying a massive portfolio of properties. Probably owned, I want to say, like 14 or 15 properties at one time. It's not massive, but for me, for again a 20-something-year-old kid, that's what I had. And then the crash came back in 08, 09, and I lost it. I lost everything, and that was kind of reality for me. That was hard, and um, I went through a lot. I actually got pretty, I got pretty beat up on myself, and um, I want to say that I snapped right back, but I didn't. But the thing is that I always knew that, sales were the way. But again, being that I had failed, I pretty much lost everything. And at that point, I was a father, I had a wife, had a baby. We had one more on the way. I got hit with, well, we got to get back to reality. And so I did. I got back to reality. I got reactivated my real estate license and became a property manager because I provided steady income. And we moved back into my parents' place, and I started to rebuild from there. And I remember as I was going through that, we were doing okay. We were barely scraping by. The money wasn't that good, but it was enough to feed us. What ended up happening, though, is the company I worked for got bought out by a bigger company. And even though they increased my pay, what happened was they also increased my cost for medical. And a little bit about me is my daughter has some special needs. And so for us, we had to figure out what we were going to do. And so I remember I had a check, got a paycheck for like $700. And I deposited into the bank like $750 maybe. And the balance on my account was $100 less than the check. And I sat there and I said, am I overdrawn? And that's the first time I realized I can't do this anymore. If I keep becoming an employee, or if I keep working, for a salary, I'm not going to make it. I'll never have control of my income again. And so with nothing to lose, I left and I went to become a car salesman. And it took me a couple of months. I actually built my own website. Started driving traffic to it, and I started creating my own leads, and I ended up doing really well. I became a pretty good car salesman. Did pretty well doing that, but I don't know if any of you guys know cars. Cars took a lot of time out of you, and it took away from the relationships I had at home. And there was one day being that I could generate my own leads, I did a lot of internet stuff. They actually promoted me to an internet manager position, making pretty good money. I was actually probably the only person that got paid a salary as much as I did. The problem is they only did that for a few months because they want salespeople. I stopped selling and I started managing, and they wanted me to sell. And so I had to make a decision because for me, controlling my schedule was important. And I actually left. I left that job with the clarity that I gotta go figure it out. And what did I fall back into? I fell back into sales, and that's when I got into timeshare, and that's what I'm still in today. And it's changed my life. And truth is, I've had ups, I've had downs, and I had to unlearn everything I learned in car sales and relearn everything step by step. I had to rebuild myself brick by brick, all the way up. But the one constant is the ability to control your own destiny, the ability to control your own income that came with sales. And what I realized is, even though I'm an E, I get paid like an S. And going back to Kiyosaki's things, right? Even though I'm an E, I got paid like an S. And for me, that was freeing. That gave me a lot of control. But here I am today. The coronavirus hit, and let me back up a little bit. As a sales rep, I did really well, and I got offered the opportunity again to get a consistent schedule so I could be home more with my kids, at least home with them on the weekends. And I took it, and I got paid well, and I've been in a sales training role for about 3 years. And coronavirus hit, and being that we're in the tourism industry, nothing. We're living in Hawaii. Everything in Waikiki is shut down. We have a statewide shutdown for all the way till April 30th. It's still March right now, and we're not there, and we're probably not going to be out there for a while. So with all this shutting down, I got asked to go back to the sales line. And what's funny is, for the last 3 years I've been training people, and what I train people is, what I'm going to give you is a life skill set. This is a skill set that you're going to have for life. This is something that you're going to have your entire life, that you can use for relationships, for people, how to deal with things, how to deal with failure over and over and over. And there's no way I failed. It took an act of God for me to lose my position. There's 2 people more senior than me, and they're not keeping 3 of us, and I get it. And as soon as there's a position open, they're probably going to move me back, and I hope so. But until then, I get to go back on the line. I get to go back and sell. And that brings me to why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because, as much as I love sales, I'm going to share with you guys everything I learned in sales. Everything I learned. But the biggest thing of why I started this is because I realized I'm still in an S model, and I need to start becoming a B. I need to stop being the S that goes out and hustles. And even though I love sales and it makes money, and I'll teach everybody about that, I created this so I can start becoming a B. I need to start serving other people, serving more people. And I'll share a story later about my tie-in with my boss, and his question that he asked me in terms of sales, because in my opinion, sales is individual selfish. It is. You're not helping anybody else develop them, and I want to do more, and I got a whole nother bunch of stories about that. But the big thing is, I started Sales Story Ninja because I knew I needed to do more. I knew I needed to get out. I knew I needed to start documenting my journey. And so this is it. This is my journey, getting out there. What I want to be doing is, I'm going to be sharing stuff I learned on the sales floor. Let me back up as well. In the meantime, as all this is going on, knowing that I might need to make some extra income, I'm going to be, I actually signed up to be a back-end closer for a lot of internet marketing companies. And so I'm going through that training right now. As soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to share what I learned on that. And there's a lot of stuff in the training that I teach, but it's also stuff that I believe in and I value. So I'm going to be hitting up and taking that stuff on. And so, at the end of the day, this sales skill is what's saved my life after financial pitfall, after financial pitfall, after financial pitfall, after failure in entrepreneurship once, twice, okay? Sales has always been the thing to pick me back up and give me the opportunity. The truth is, every business needs sales. Every business needs to make sales. Right now, when you look at restaurants, they're fizzling out. They're selling whatever they can. I got businesses that need people to buy stuff. Their customers were the businesses. None of the businesses are open anymore. And so for me, the skill set that I've developed over the years, it's awesome. And the best part is I get to sharpen it and get it even better. I'm so excited about the training I'm in. I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about it as I go through, but man, I am so stoked that I get to develop myself, become a stronger closer, develop the tools I need to level up my game, and I get to put it back into practice when I hit the floor, hopefully May, if not June. But as soon as I can hit that floor again, and in the meantime, hopefully I can book some high ticket sales clients on the phone and be able to do that on the phone. So I'll be doing all of that. And this is my sales story, right? This is my sales story that I'm excited to share with you guys. And I'm really glad you guys are following along. I appreciate you taking the time to listen all the way through. If you came this far, thank you very much. But yeah, let's do this together. I'll be sharing some things that I learned, definitely some stuff I learned. I'll probably be doing some interviews. I'll be calling some friends of mine that I know are very, very talented salespeople, and I'll be asking them what they do, how they think, what are their strategies for success. And the last thing, if I do have any kind of training, if there's anything that I want to train on that I do know well, I'll probably do trainings as well throughout this podcast. And if you want, go ahead and check out my Facebook group. I have the art and science of timeshare sales. So go ahead and check that out. And other than that, again, this is Kaleo with Sales Story Ninja. Welcome. This is my first episode, and I hope to have many, many, many more. Aloha.